I was curating one of my first art exhibitions, Kinetic Moving Objects. And that's when I saw him. He was standing right there, around 9 years old, messy brown hair, and he was totally transfixed on this one kinetic object. Now, it was a crazy day at the museum. The kids were running around, looking at this object and moving on. This boy did not move. It's as if time stood still. It was about 15 minutes later when one of his parents literally had to drag him away to see the next object. I found out later that that boy was on the autism spectrum, and this is what he was looking at. And this is how it moved. This kinetic object is called the steam spiral. And go figure, it's actually run on steam. The functional art form is called steampunk. Now, watching that boy that day made me wonder, was there more to steampunk than just repurposed, cool, kinetic objects? For those who are new to steampunk, let me offer this simple math formula. History plus art plus technology equals steampunk. And steampunk started out as a subgenre of science fiction. It's really this big what if. What if during the Victorian period or the industrial age, they had our modern technology? And steampunk is all about combining and synthesizing opposites of past and present, of form and function, of art and science, and even human and machine. You've all seen steampunk. You probably didn't even know it had a name. You've seen it in literature and in movies. You've seen it in fashion. And you've also seen it in functional art and design. But for me, steampunk, at its core, is about creative problem solving, collaborating, and building resilience. I've always been a curious learner. I've been inspired by history, architectural salvage, mechanical objects, and high-tech gadgetry. I dreamed about being James West in the 1960s TV series Wild Wild West, which was really kind of a pre-steampunk show. And it was my father's favorite show also, where we would watch it together and bond. To me, my father was James West. You can see a little bit of resemblance there. And as a child, I had a very hard time sitting still and standing still. As you can probably see, that I'm having a hard time staying on this dot. And my mother would tell me that I had the spilkies, and if you don't know that word, the more technical term is ants in the pants. But everything changed for me when I found steampunk. Here's an early example of one of my art pieces. This actually started out as a simple coat rack and was repurposed into a clock assemblage. And it's loaded with Victorian hardware, gauges, 100-year-old bits and pieces. But the important thing is, when I was working on this, time stood still for me. I became totally focused, just like that boy I saw in the museum. And soon after getting into this, my designs started to take on a life of their own. This is a later piece that I did. It's actually steampunk Mary Shelley as Lady Prometheus. And as my work evolved, I started to incorporate a narrative, tying into history, taking meaningful period objects and then combining them with new technology to transform the ordinary into extraordinary steampunk functional art. Let me give you an example of this. Take the hammer. The hammer started out just banging in nails, but someone came up with the bright idea of giving its opposite function, of prying nails out. Brilliant. In one elegant, repurposed object, we now have an invention that does opposites. And steampunk is all about the opposites. Let me show you another example. This is the opposites of art and science coming together. I collaborated with two astronomers and a very talented team of artists and engineers to create Celeste. And Celeste is a magical 25-foot, 6,000-pound steampunk armillary that was designed and fabricated and installed for the Hotel Marlowe in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Or how about combining past, present, and future? Meet my Hugh machine, the author H.G. Wells, as the human time machine, as he travels forward in time to our world, repurposed as the machine that he wrote about. And he's built of authentic period objects that actually existed when he was alive and are relevant to his ideas and stories of creating a better world. Steampunk gives us the permission to celebrate the best of the past while giving us the permission and imagination to think of a better, more resilient future. I soon came to realize that steampunk was more than just repurposing objects. I soon met Dr. Ashley Hillier. She's an associate professor at UMass Lowell. And after talking to Dr. Hillier, I told her about my steampunk and definition of steampunk of history plus art plus technology. And she confirmed to me that steampunk, that there is a connection between steampunk and autism spectrum disorder. She told me that autistic kids, in general, excel in the sciences. They love technology. They love the mechanical. They love art. It's really how their brains work. And so we were so excited about the connections and the possibilities of steampunk and autism, we created a 9-week steampunk is art therapy program called Steampunk Kinetics, building art into science. And what we wanted to do is we wanted the kids to design, but then physically build a steampunk kinetic, connected, repurposed machine. And we wanted to integrate learning of science, technology, engineering, art, math, and history. And the idea was also to help to improve their social skills, to reduce their anxiety, and to bolster their creative problem solving. We called it the Steampunk Tower House. And the idea here was that we had these boxes that represented rooms in a house, and then we wanted to take a steel ball down a track and move it all the way down from the attic down to the basement and then back up again. This was the result. So, go steampunk. I know that's just a video, but every time that completes, I get very excited. I decided to continue with the program, and then about halfway through, one of the parents comes up to me whose child had a very hard time connecting with other programs, and this is what she said to me. After the Steampunk Kinetics class, Andrew would actually talk about it and share his ideas with us. That was a huge leap for him. Andrew's mother had tears in her eyes when she said this to me, and I'll never forget it. It was one of those rare moments when you know in some small way you've had impact. And not just for this one child, but for his whole family. Giving them a tool to connect, to communicate, to adapt, to become more resilient, and to succeed. And that day made a big impact on me. I can tell you, as a parent, there is no better and more satisfying moment in your life when you hear your child talk passionately and be happy about a moment in their lives. This is the power of steampunk. It's not just about the beautiful aesthetic. It's about the beautiful, resilient mind it can help us grow. And just think what steampunk did for this one child. Now imagine or reimagine what it can do for the rest of us. I'm now pushing steampunk into schools and museums through STEM to STEAM. Science, technology, engineering, art, and math. But of course, I want to turn that into steampunk, which adds the history, the relevance, the meaning. Steampunk actually makes history cool for kids. Who would have known? So please join me in exploring how steampunk can help you, your children, and all of us become better problem solvers, learn and connect to history, and to build more resilient minds. Please now tell everyone what you know now about steampunk. Thank you.